Diamond channel, welcome. Right, today I'm reviewing this video by Dr. Peterson. He was talking about pride being a cardinal sin. And there's a few things, I was watching it, and a few things he was saying could easily translate to the problems and challenges you'll have at the bench making jewellery. So that might sound a bit strange, but we'll listen to him and I'll translate how I reckon it can make sense to you if you're a jeweller.
Playing, or you're in a sports competition now, you want to be matched with someone who's about as good as you, or maybe even a little better. And you think, well, why? If it's about victory, so if it's about power, why not find some player who's nowhere near as good as you and just stomp them?
Okay, that little thing is, if you're making jewellery, yeah, like say I'm a skilled jeweller, I've got years of experience. If I just had to sit down and make like plain wedding bands all day, that'd be so boring. It's not a challenge to me anymore. But if making a wedding band is the first thing you've done, it's going to be deeply satisfying. It's going to be really enjoyable to do. You're going to be really proud of yourself afterwards. Having a shiny metal thing, the first time you ever made something in metal, it's really fun and it can get you hooked on making jewellery. But as you proceed and you do more, you achieve more and more difficult things and learn to make more complicated things really well. Going back to the earlier things you made, they're not fun anymore. So he's talking about sports competitions. He's talking about how the point is not winning. It's like the endeavour to go through the challenge of winning. So ideally you need a competitor, someone equal to you, or perhaps is more preferable, even better than you. And that way you push yourself more and you get that satisfaction if you win, or if you do quite well against someone who you thought was much better than you. It can be really satisfying. That's where the fun is in playing games. So same with jewellery. If you push your skill a little bit, you can really enjoy it more.
Well, that's not fair. That's one answer. And the other is, well, that's no fun. It's like, well, why is it no fun if the point is the victory? And the answer is, well, the point isn't the victory. The point is, well, what is the point? Well, the point is the fun. Yeah, but what's the point of the fun? Well, the point of the fun is to signal optimal development.
Yeah, there you go. Optimal development. That's a better way of putting it. You want to improve yourself. You want to get better at your job. You want to work a bit faster, a bit more accurately, a bit more skillfully, and a bit more confidently. That's where the enjoyment is. It's not in the actual completion of the piece.
So structure and lack of structure, or
it's the journey towards the construction of the piece that provides all those feelings.
Meaning and engagement. And your nervous system is signaling to you, this conversation isn't so contentious that we're upset. And it's not so mundane that we're bored. It's right on the border.
Yeah, so I would translate that as, again, going back to me just making simple wedding bands, boring. But I don't want to have to do something that's so difficult and so technical and so time consuming and just pulling my hair out trying to get it done. Like some complicated shape and I've got to do a gallery wire for it, and it's all double curvatures, up, down, left, right, and I've got to do a square wire, gallery wire, it's got to twist as it follows these curves. If it's really complicated, I'll be able to do it, but it's going to be so time consuming, it'll just be frustrating. It won't be enjoyable because it's pushing my patience and my abilities to the limit. So you want something to strive towards achieving, but not really frustrate yourself in doing it. So again, go back to sports. You don't want to win too easily. You don't want to get your butt whooped like continuously either.
Oh, yes.
You want it in the middle somewhere.
Okay, so pride's a sin because humility is the precondition for play. So the reason that we can have this conversation and it's working is because you know there are some things you don't know. And I know that there are some things I don't know. And I assume that you might know some things that I don't know that are useful, and vice versa. And then we can throw...
Right, so now he's talking more specifically about pride, yeah? Pride and humility. I would say humility, I may have to look this up, but my understanding of the word humility is the sense of being humble. And I've talked about being humble in the past on my videos. I don't like jewellers when they call themselves or refer to themselves as anything like master or professor or even expert. It grates me a little bit. I think you should always have a beginner or learner mindset, because if you're a jeweller and the moment you call yourself a master, it's like you close the door to learning new things. It's like no one can tell you anything new. How could they? Because you've already decided that you're the master. It's a terrible thing to do, because making jewellery is a skill that you can spend your whole life learning, and there'll always be more things to learn. And something I was talking about recently, even people with a lot less experience than you if their experience is different to yours, they're going to have something to teach you. You can learn little things from everyone. So I always recommend learning from different people, listening to other people. Never look down on anyone if they haven't got as many years experience as you, or they've done different types of jewellery. Say you've been working on platinum and expensive diamonds, and you're talking to someone who's only worked on like cheap silver things. They may have some little tricks of the way to hold things and to solder that you don't know about. So you can learn something from anyone. So never call yourself a master or an expert or nothing. You should always be humble with your opinions of yourself.
Our mutual knowledge back and forth in this spirit of, let's say, playful engagement, and we can move towards mutual enlightenment and redemption. And I would say redemption because, well, you're trying to redeem yourself from your ignorance and your blindness, but you're also trying to redeem yourself from your excessive pride. And your pride would be...
Yeah, redeem yourself from previous mistakes you made. Like maybe gave you a bit of frustration, so you're going to try harder next time and try and get that job done really well. Like these little aluminium artworks I'm making, I had so much trouble with these, but I just keep going, I keep doing it, I learn a little bit. Still little things I need to experiment and try to master it, but I'm enjoying the challenge. So they're not worth anything, it's just a hobby. I like making them. So when I'm working on them, it's like I'm trying to achieve a good result, and that would redeem me from previous bad attempts I've made. And also, it humbles me. It's like, talk about having 20, 25 years experience working on high-end bespoke handmade jewellery. I'm struggling to solder little bits of aluminium together. So it humbles me. It's a good experience.
I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you can't do this.
What I know goes.
It's like, well, maybe. It's like, is everything paradisal around you? Is everything set in perfect order around you? And if the answer to that is no, well, probably you have something to learn.
Yeah, call yourself a master jeweler, yeah? With your beer belly, overeating, like turn up, tired because you didn't sleep properly, because you stayed up too late, because you drank too much. Calling yourself a master, I think, should be your whole life, and no one is that. no one's a master at anything.
And then you might
Jewellery bench all covered in dust and lemel and
that you have something to learn.
Late paying of taxes and stuff. No one's a master. Forget about it.
And that's the opposite of pride. And so pride is a sin because it leads you to be a tyrant and it stops you from learning. And then it also leads you to, the tyrant part is...
There you go, stops you from learning. That's what I said.
Right. And so pride is one of the cardinal sins, along with lying. Those two things together are sort of the nexus of hell. Mm-hmm. So... like a totalitarian state is prideful because the totalitarians say, well, we already know everything. It's embodied in Marxist doctrine. We've got the truth, 100% of the truth.
If a jeweler who really believed himself as a master started a jewellery school, it would be a totalitarian school, because you wouldn't be able to do anything differently than the way he's teaching. Anything he sees you doing that he didn't teach you is going to be wrong, and you're going to get told off for it. It's not enjoyable working for people like that. I have had experience of people telling me holding a file wrong. I used to, when I was an apprentice, a normal ring file, I holding the handle and just to put a bit more weight on the blade, to put my finger on it. It's quite a normal thing. A lot of jewelers do it. And it really told me off for it, saying I've got to hold it like normally, because you talk about the wrist action when you're twisting the file. It doesn't matter. Just whatever's comfortable is the best way. Yeah, you can't be like a totalitarian jeweler to people. It doesn't work.
But pride is the opposite of humility, and humility...
And that guy, I've since way surpassed anything he was capable of as when I was first learning. So his way was not the correct way at all.
Humility is the precondition for learning.
Mm-hmm. And you might say that's partly why humility is something that was practiced, say, by genuinely religious people as a virtue, because the idea would be to open yourself up like a child. You know how open a child is to learning. Well, the child doesn't assume he or she knows everything already. Mm-hmm. They're just looking around all the time.
This is ringing bells from what I said earlier about always having a learner mindset.
No, and with us, like an infant, they're just like this all the time.
If you can want to learn and combine that with enthusiasm to learn, there's no stopping you. You can be as good as you ever want to be. And if you never lose that, you're just constantly getting better. If you don't lose enthusiasm and you want to learn, it's a real golden secret. It's the perfect ingredient to being a really good jeweler. Or anything in life, any endeavour to learn any skill. If you just want to be good, if you just enjoy the learning, that's it. You're on your way to a very high level.